Welcome to DasGeek. This is Puppy Linux, but it's not just any Puppy Linux. This is Puppy Linux that's installed onto just a USB drive. So I'm not talking where we are just booting to it and every session is brand new, like if you put, any of your favorite distros on a USB drive. Try that on Windows, by the way. This is actually installed literally to a Sandisk Pro Extreme USB card so that every time that I exit and reboot onto that USB, my files and things remain. So the use case for this is just awesome. I mean, if you go over to a friend's house and you want to pull up some files that you've been working on, if you are traveling and you forgot your computer, or maybe you just travel with your work computer and you want to boot into a different session to work on some code and things that you're doing, outside of work, this allows you to accomplish that because everything you need is right here on this USB. Now, there are a couple other Linux distributions that have settings or setup that's made for USB installation. Porteous is one of those, but I had issues getting that installed, whereas Puppy Linux was quite simple. So we're going to take a look at Puppy Linux here, and I have the Tahr Pup 64 installed. That's the one that I chose, and it has some compatibility with .deb packages, which gives you a little more options when it comes to software. And I've just had a lot of fun with this, even though traditionally this would not be a desktop experience that, say, I would go put on the beast. I think it's still quite amazing that you have such a lightweight distribution that it can run entirely off of a USB drive and have so many cool features that you would want to use. So obviously when we look at their page here, it's a unique family of Linux distributions meant for home computers, originally created by Barry Kohler in 2003, and sorry if I butchered the name. It's relatively small size, 300 megabytes or less. That's incredible. It is absolutely teeny tiny. This is what it looks like, and you can see this is what it looks like here. Now, there's a couple options that we'll go through, but this one right here, the save option, is really unique because anytime that I want to save my session, since it's on a USB drive, I just click that button and it's going to save my session here. So it's a unique set of tools. Puppy Linux is a collection of multiple Linux distributions built on the same shared principles, same set of tools, unique set of Puppy-specific applications and configurations, generally speaking, providing consistent behaviors and features no matter what flavor you choose. So official Puppy Linux distributions are maintained by the Puppy Linux team, and they have a Puppy Linux system builder called Woof, which is well named. So this is the one I used here, which was the Tahr. You also have Xenial that you can use there as well, and we've got frequently asked questions and screenshots and all of that. But I'm going to show you some video of how you install this onto a USB a little bit later. It's really well done, and it's built into the installer to choose to tell it to install to a USB, and all I did was use two USBs here. Now, you can use a CD as well, so I used one USB to boot the ISO, and then I plugged in the other USB drive that I wanted to save it to, which is the Sandisk Extreme Pro, and basically installed it onto that drive directly. So this is just such a cool portable solution. Now, with that being said, it's absolutely a minimal install. You can see my simple notes here, simple notes installed. That's not something that comes with it, but it's compatible with that deb file, so I was able to install it with no issue. Your menu, which traditionally, if I saw a distro with no application search functionality, that's it for me. That's just a personal thing for me. I know a lot of people like it, but if you don't have search applications, I'm kind of done with you. But in this case, because we're dealing with such a super, super lightweight distribution that's installed onto a USB drive, we're going to let it pass. And the menu system's done pretty good, but there is so much packed into this little distribution that it gets quite busy, and you can spend a lot of time figuring out where things are, especially when you start installing stuff. So we've got Conky Switcher here, a touchpad editor, clock set manager, screensaver, configure Xlock screen, set date time, PupX set properties of X. You've got your system information here. CheiroDoc is something I installed. I didn't install the NVIDIA drivers to this yet because it could be on many different computers that I use it on. So I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work, so I didn't install the NVIDIA drivers that this PC has on it. So this is actually running on the Beast, but it's running off the USB drive. Multiple monitor settings, PUP scan, HTOP, system process viewer. So this will be interesting to kind of take a look at to see the amount of resources that we're using. Almost nothing there to run this. And obviously this system has a lot of resources it could throw at it if need be. So have gparted, grub for DOS bootload configure, legacy grub config, cups, of course, if you want to set up a printer and that type of stuff. In our setup, we have check dependencies, default application choosers for whatever default applications you want, say for text editing and that type of thing. The Puppy package manager, which is pretty cool. Puppy setup, which we'll get into here in a minute. Bug fixes, Quick Pet, which is another cool package option solution there. Also sound mixer and info setup wizard, and menu managers, 3D video upgrade wizard, Xorg video wizard. What's interesting about this as we go through, I'm not going to read every single one, but I will at least scroll through them, is, and Libra didn't come with it, LibreOffice did not come with this. What's interesting about this is I just keep really enjoying booting into Puppy Linux, and while it's a very lightweight distribution, it doesn't feel old, minus the menu not having application search. It feels pretty modern, and the amount of tools that they pack into it makes it just kind of a fun distro to explore. And certainly if you're trying to bring code and things on the road with you, what a great way to do it on a USB drive nonetheless and have a pretty good experience. And I found that setting things up, while not always super simple to figure out where that setup is, because there's lots of setting configurations, even when you're setting up wireless and that type of thing. There's like 3 different wizards that you can go through to set up your wireless. Everything is intuitive enough that you will be able to figure it out on your own without having to go online and search for it, which really says something about the overall design. Kind of difficult to navigate when it comes to a menu standard, and there are a lot of different setting options out there, places that you can get into the settings, but it is something that you can freely explore on your own and enjoy. And I was able to get everything that I really wanted set up. For instance, Sublime Text I was able to install. Samba Simple, or the YASM Samba Share Search, allowed me to be able to connect to my Synology NAS right away. And I was able to get connected onto the internet to do updates. And I was able to figure out all of the package management and installation, all without having to go online and figure it out myself. Now, that did take some playing, so if you're somebody who wants everything at your fingers immediately, that's not going to happen. But it is a lot of fun to play with this tool, and they pack a lot on top of this. And, of course, with this resource monitor, it's important to understand I'm running Simple Screen Recorder on top of this as well. So just keep that in mind. With this, you've got your file manager here, which is just a very, very small, torn down Rocks file manager. When I say small, I guess I should say lightweight and very minimal options there. But again, because you are standard root within Puppy Linux in this version, you start out as root. You don't create a different user than root. You pretty much always root, which makes it very easy to get the things done that you need to on a USB drive. You're able to move files around and get things set up pretty easily, and while it's a very simple file manager, it has all the features that you really need for a portable operating system like this. So you can see this is where Sublime and Telegram I even got installed on this are all set up. So all of the basic programs that I would want to use on the road for coding, for internet browsing, entertainment, all of that stuff is there. This comes with the Pale Moon browser. You've got email, you've got AbiWord that comes set up in here. So let's take a look at QuickPet. QuickPet is where you're going to do your updates to the operating system itself, because this is not an Ubuntu base or Arch base or anything else. You're not going to be able to go and use those standard commands. So you're going to use the Tahr pup updates button here. You can change kernels, and that's just a link to the search engine. The browsers here are things that you can install by just clicking. So this is kind of a pre-packaged setup where you can go in here and install some of the programs you may want to use, like Tor or Firefox for browsers. If you want to install Dropbox, Skype, Pigeon, you can see there are a lot of great tools here that you can just click install and get on the road. Rocco will be happy. The Google Music Manager is in there. You've got Mix, you've got Spotify, and our video making. We've got OpenShot, Avid Emux, Kodi, and GovCView for webcam editing. You've got GIMP, MyPaint, Blender, all of these different programs under graphics, games, Office, and other. So this is where we installed OpenOffice. You can install Wine, VirtualBox. So a lot of really conky, of course. Look at your puppy, so sweet. And different things right away. And drivers. So this is where we can install our NVIDIA drivers, and it makes it really simple. So again, while things kind of seem a little dated, keep in mind you're running this off of a USB drive in my case, and you want things to be super light, but all of those core power features of being able to get to your drivers and everything are all there through wizards and setups that make it just so unique in that way. And I just have really enjoyed my time playing with this operating system. Additionally, you can see down here, it shows all of the drives that I have mounted in my system right out of the box. So as soon as I booted in, I had all of these. I didn't have to mount them. So you have access to all of your different drives there right away. Now, there's also the Puppy Package Manager, and this is where you can search for different applications based on the repositories to go in and download. I've had mixed success with this. For instance, applications like cheese and things like that will give me a bunch of dependencies that aren't met, and it will fail out. Other ones will work just fine. I will tell you one of the secrets is definitely updating the database of as soon as you get in, because it doesn't automatically update. So you want to update the database so it pulls in the latest packages, and then you can install some software. So I've had mixed results with this, but overall it works good enough, especially if you are trying to keep a minimal install and just get the core applications that you're wanting to run. You can certainly do that within Puppy Linux. Let's go into Puppy Setup now so I can show you a little bit about that. So you're going to have a quick setup first run settings when you first set up your computer, and you're going to set up a lot of these options, but this is where you can go back and set them up again. So you can go up here, for instance, in the startup, and you can add startup applications that kick off when your computer boots. You've got a bunch of different options here for different modules or services that you want to run at startup. Mouse and keyboard setup, sound, graphic screen, accelerated graphics. Again, if you want to install your AMD or NVIDIA proprietary drivers. This says, of course, that comes with the open source accelerated graphics drivers, which should be enabled by default. Proprietary drivers are available below, so you can get those installed. And setting up a printer, you can do all through this Puppy setup page. Now, the one issue that I've run into that I haven't, and again, I've spent probably 2 days in Puppy Linux just playing around, that I haven't been able to get around is the internet is wonky. Now, I've got it very stable now. At the point of writing that this was wonky, one of the issues was it just seemed to be really slow initializing that Wi-Fi, and I wasn't used to it taking, after it booted, any of the computers taking a while to find that wireless signal. So I would go through the setup again because it didn't look like it was going to connect, and then in the middle of the setup it would connect, and then I kind of screwed it up myself. But the issue is this computer is completely based on wireline. I mean, it's got an Ethernet cable connected directly to it. So there really was no need for wireless. But I could not get the Ethernet to connect in a wired configuration, and I'm not sure why it wasn't reaching out to that. There are options in the wizard to add additional drivers and be able to create more compatibility, I guess, with the different systems. But the wired configuration didn't work. Now, when I plugged the dongle in, a Wi-Fi Belkin dongle that I had for other computer, it worked right away, and I was able to get things set up. But the wired connection did not seem to catch on my specific hardware. Now, I can go in and look at what specific hardware I have and then go find that driver and install it. But that would be literally the only issue I've really run across. And in most cases, you're probably going to be on wireless, especially with the portable USB application that I'm using it for here. Down below, of course, you have your sound settings. You have your CPU temperatures here. and how many processors we're running. We've got free space in our personal storage, firewall information, turn firewall on or off. I think this may be like an HTOP type graph or something, and of course your date. There is no customization by right-clicking to set anything up. If you right-click on the desktop, it's kind of like an open box experience where you just get your menu, which does allow you to get to it a little quicker than other setups. But of course, you have no application search, so that kind of sucks. That's the one feature I would love to see, that and improved driver support for internet would be fantastic. But otherwise, everything that I really truly need to get up and running to put this on my keychain and have a truly portable Linux solution is here, and that what makes this a really cool distribution. A review of Puppy Tahr Linux. I absolutely dig it. I love it. I think you will enjoy it too. Go out there and install this onto a USB drive and enjoy. I'm going to show you some video of me installing it in case you want to get just a general idea of how it's done. And until next time, get out there and fill your brains. Okay, so we booted into our USB drive of Puppy Linux. Everything seems to work really well. Interesting choice of icon sets. You can see down here, well, it's going to be hard for you guys to see because I have to record this on the camera, but these are all of my mountable drive points here. We've got a bunch of email, chat, browse, write, calculate, paint, draw, install, setup, and console stuff. It boots to this quick setup menu, all settings, and many more available from the setup and desktop menu. Please set these to suit yourself, then click OK. So we've got the English, we've got our time here, which we need to change to the Eastern. You can't type in there. That kind of stinks. All right, fine. We'll use the quaint drop-down menu. Keyboard numlock, set time and date from the internet. Guess we could have chose that from the beginning. Host name, our screen. Great. Click OK. Processing. Now we have time server synchronization. System time offset, blah, 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 blah. Choose a time server region nearest you. If displays blank, move the mouse slightly. Offset the top. North America. Okay, great. Internet connection. Click on the connect button on the right or icon at left of the screen. One click only. You'll then see some buttons for choosing how you wish to connect to the internet. It is easy. Okay, so I saw it jumped right here, the SDE1. So we know that's the name that just got installed there. Great, so let's go to install. And now the word install can mean two different things. Install additional applications in the current Puppy, install Puppy to some other media. Universal installer required for full install. Boot Flash USB installer if your computer won't boot from a USB drive. Okay, universal installer. If you wish to install Puppy to removable media such as USB flash or hard drive, the cat knocked the camera. Get out of here, kitty. Silly kitty. All right. If you wish to install Puppy to removable media, USB drive, please insert it right now. Then choose the media you want to install. USB flash drive. Now it asks me to choose which, so I have this one here, which is the 119. It's saying, are you really super certain you want to do this? Warning. Otherwise, they're in the ISO file and can be extracted in that case. Just click on the ISO file and it will be mounted. Okay, I think I kind of get it. So it's probably SDD1, I would think. I don't see it here. Mount SDD1. Am I missing it? I'm in the mount, right? Am I in the mount? I'm in the mount. There we go. All right, I'll use default. D for DasGeek, baby. Would you like xlinux.cfg to have pfix equals copy boot parameter? This will cause Puppy be copied into RAM at boot up, which slows boot up but speeds application startup slightly. Probably good to answer yes here if PC has 256 megabytes or more RAM. But definitely have more. Yes. But you never know what kind of computer it will be put into, so we have our portable version of Puppy Linux. So now it's copying the SFS files. So far, this is much easier to install than Porteous. Porteous may have worked better had I installed it to a CD first and then attempted to install it to the USB drive versus trying to do it just through my system. So, all right, finished. Could that be it? All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the computer and reboot into our new drive. So let's go exit, shut down. I don't want to save anything right now, obviously, because it's on the old. I'm going to remove the USB drive that we use to boot Puppy Linux. We're going to restart the computer. All right. So now we're going to go to our boot menu and we're going to try to boot to Puppy Linux. Here's our Sandisk Extreme Pro. Looks like it's working. It installed something there because before Puppy Linux wasn't on there. So I think it worked. And I'm pretty freaking excited about this. This is going to go on a keychain, and anywhere I go, I can show off Linux or do some work on Linux. It will be interesting to see what kind of files and things are available here. Very cool. So now we're in our quick setup.
Don't get too small. Does not watch the video.